Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our coverage of the National Assembly's consideration of the 2014 budgets for Guyana. We just passed the 1630 mark this afternoon, and we're into day 4 since the National Assembly began considering the estimates, that is, putting the various programs up to a vote. Since the consideration started, we've seen several disapproval of programs under the national budget. We have seen the disapproval particularly of the Amerindian Development Program, 1.1 billion Guyana dollars, which will be affecting buildings, water and land transport, office furniture and equipment, among other developmental programs for the hinterland. We also saw the disapproval of the Chedi Jagan International Airport project, $6.5 billion, and with that went $235 million for hinterland airstrip and civil aviation. What is happening, because the combined opposition is unable to delink the specific programs that they are targeting for cutting this year, they have had to be cutting entire program heads, which inevitably affect other programs, unintended programs, but nevertheless, we are seeing the effects of those cuts when the major targeted areas go under the axe. While we're here at the National Assembly this afternoon and we are listening in to the presentation from the Honorable Norman Whitaker, Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, presenting the estimates for the regional authorities, regional democratic councils and organs, hoping to complete from regions 6 through to 10 this afternoon. We also have hundreds of hinterland residents, literally hundreds of hinterland residents amassed at the corner of Brick Dam and Avenue of the Republic, vehemently venting their frustration at the recent cutting of the Amerindian Development Program, $1.1 billion in developmental programs for the Amerindian people. And several hours they've been out there venting vehemently. And we have Edward Lane out there waiting to talk with them. In fact, I'm going to pitch to him now so that we can hear some of the concerns being expressed by our Amerindian brothers and sisters who have come from all parts of the hinterland to be outside of the National Assembly here this afternoon. Eddie?
Hi, Dario. Thank you very much, Dario. I can hardly hear you. A large gathering of Amerindians, and they came from all across the country, all the Amerindian communities across the country. They're here protesting the $1.1 billion cut of the Amerindian Development Fund. I have a few of them here who will be talking with me shortly with regards to the reasons they are out here. I have one brother here. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
$1.1 billion cut from the 2014 national budget that was designated to the Amerindian Development Fund.
Yes.
Monies that were going towards a number of programs for Amerindians, particularly youths. What is your response to the opposition's actions in Parliament?
I think they should have thought it over and consider the cost of the 1.1 billion, and that the youths were already engaged. The program is not even 1 year old. They're engaged with work, assisting in the different sectors in the communities. And it is only wise to give the unemployed youths, Amerindian youths, something to do, seeing that they're saying that there is no job employment and the government has tried with a program, the youth apprenticeship program, and it's just so to cut it, right? I don't think it is fair. I think they should consider it. They should consider what they've done in Parliament. Also, they're not only that, the other development infrastructures in the community. It plays a vital role, right? We know that some places they cannot build a hospital. We want to know why they're not building the hospitals in Mabroom and those other places, right? So that's the reason why we came all the way from different parts of Guyana here, our country, to protest against what they're doing in Parliament.
some members of the opposition are saying that the $1.1 billion is a waste of money. The opposition leader said that the monies are basically giving Amerindians money to do nothing. What is your response to that?
No, I don't think that is right, because they are working. They are working in the communities. To me, I think they should have come on the ground and see what is going on. They should have come on the ground and see what is going on, and then they could have made their justification, because they are working. As a matter of fact, they assist. Seeing that we have a shortage of teachers, those young people who came out of secondary, they are in a position now to help teachers who have the capability of teaching, right? And also in the field of health, they are helping there, right? So I don't think when they just cut the budget without no kind of justification, I don't think that is right. As far as I'm concerned, sir, I think that is like, discrimination against us.
I will talk to another young Amerindian here. You're out here. The opposition cut $1.1 billion from the 2014 national budget, which was particularly earmarked for the Amerindian Development Fund. You as a young Amerindian would have benefited from this money. What is your call? What is your message to the opposition in Parliament?
Okay, for the $1.1 billion, it is given for the Amerindian Development Fund. For young Amerindians to develop from that money, because we have a lot of young Amerindian youths. We have since they have lived in their schools and there were no opportunities, and now we have as a CSO, I said, we have a lot of CSOs in my village. I'm from Yupukari village, Region 9. So we have a lot of youth, the CSOs, that they are enjoying the work that they are doing. They are the community support officers, and they are enjoying doing their work and having a little stipend. And the opposition is saying that it is waste. That is waste of money. But that is not waste of money. That is the development of the Amerindian young people, I can say. So it's not a waste of money. It's development for Amerindian people.
What do you want to say to the parliamentarians? You have quite a number of Amerindian parliamentarians who spoke about the need for Amerindian development, but they voted against the money.
Okay, they should look more, the persons who were voted to be the leaders of the Amerindian people, they should look forward to the Amerindian communities and says that how Amerindian, the young youths, have to have the money to benefit and so on. So yeah, it should be that.
All right, thank you very much. I'll talk to another young lady here. She's from one of the Amerindian communities. You're out here, you're braving the weather, you're braving the rains, you're here in solidarity with your Amerindian brothers and sisters, rejecting the opposition's decision to cut $1.1 billion for the Amerindian Development Fund. What is what do you have to say to members of parliament who voted against this money?
Okay, as I stand here before as a young Amerindian, why I'm here protesting on behalf of the budget, because the opposition cuts the budget, and I don't think it's fair. What job do the opposition offer we as Amerindians beside the government? And I don't think it is fair that why the opposition cut the budget.
You have quite a number of Amerindian parliamentarians who spoke extensively about the need for Amerindian development, especially in the opposition, and they are the ones who voted against the money. What do you want to say to them in Parliament?
Okay, we need development in various communities, and we need in terms of we need more development, and we will
you need more investment in your communities to improve the livelihoods of Amerindians.
Yes.
All right, I want to thank you very much. I'll talk to another gentleman here. Join me, sir, please. You are from one of the Amerindian. Which community are you from?
I'm from Warapoko Village, Region 1.
All right, you're out here. you were showing your solidarity with your Amerindian brothers and sisters, rejecting the opposition's decision to cut $1.1 billion from the Amerindian Affairs Ministry's budget. This $1.1 billion was for the Amerindian Development Fund, to improve the livelihoods of young Amerindians, to improve the economies of the various Amerindian villages. What is your message to parliamentarians who voted against this money?
My contribution towards that is that we, by slashing this amount of cash, would affect the livelihood of our peoples across Guyana at large, where the Amerindians are benefiting at a great amount. And by slashing this, it will really destroy that young plant that is trying to now come up at a mature height where it can produce and see the reality of spending the funds in our communities across the country.
What is your message, though, to the members of parliament and the opposition who would have voted against this money? What is your message to them?
We are saying, please, opposition, we are asking that kindly make a right decision today and release our funds. We need it, a part of the beneficiaries at our country and our community across the country.
Thank you very much, sir. So, Dario, as you can see, a large number of Amerindians out here, they are calling on the opposition to rethink their position, that these communities are in dire need of this money to develop their economies, to have programs in place for the young Amerindians who would have started their training 1 year into the training, and now they're being told, in essence, that there is no money to continue the program. $1.1 billion cut from the 2014 national budget, which was earmarked for the Amerindian Development Fund. I'm going to hand it back to you. We're going to come back a little later out here to join them as they continue their protest rejecting the budget.
You can hear me?
Dario, back to you.
Eddie, don't move too far, because what I want to ask you to do is move further to your right so that you can get into the heart of where the crowd really is. You're on the fringes. We want to see the magnitude of what's happening out there. So if you can move further to your right down to the epicenter of what's taking place out there. Hundreds of Amerindians voicing their concerns that they are in fact being marginalized as a result of these cuts to their programs. $1.1 billion that is supposed to take care of their economic and social development, their empowerment as a people. Their livelihoods have been removed from the budget by the combined opposition. Those programs would have catered for water and land transport, office furniture and equipment, various buildings in the hinterland, including schools and a number of community centers and other facilities, and of course the Amerindian Development Fund, which takes care of training and educational grants and a number of other programs. This, of course, is not the only area that was axed from the budget. We also saw a major cut taking place for regional and clinical services under the Ministry of Health, which of course affected doctors' quarters. We have hundreds of doctors who have just returned from Cuba, having specialized and become medical practitioners back here home to serve their country, and now they will not be able to benefit from proper, efficient quarters. So what the minister explained is that he wanted to set up a complex in the various regions where the doctors can actually be within the environs of the hospital and not have to come from a mile away when they're on call. In Linden in particular, where the old hospital still stands, the minister intended to renovate that entire facility, turn it into a doctor's complex where the doctors can be stationed there and be right on site when they're on call. Number of other areas included medical equipment and supplies. Now, this is very critical. Medical equipment and supplies for regional services. Certainly, the regional health centers will be affected, not being able to benefit from the funds to take care of equipment and medical supplies for regional and clinical services. What they really targeted under that head was a specialty hospital, but inadvertently they ended up cutting doctors' quarters, office furniture and equipment, land and water transport, medical equipment. No new ambulances for this year. I think 12 new ambulances were earmarked for purchase this year on that program. We also saw major cuts on the transport, targeting the Chedijagan International Airport, $6.5 billion. The opposition, in fact, in addition to cutting the Chedijagan International Airport project, they also removed $235 million for hinterland airstrips and civil aviation. Now, there again, the Amerindians will be affected on a different plane. The Amerindian Development Fund of $1.1 billion has been removed, as well as hinterland airstrips. No rehabilitation, no expansion, no building of new airstrips for the hinterlands since those monies have been cut from the budget as well. Eddie, I trust that you're now in position in the epicenter of that protest, and I want to come right back to you so that we can hear more. We saw the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs right in the midst of the hinterland peoples there, hoping that you can have a chat with her as well, and some of the Amerindian leaders, as well as other folks from the various hinterland regions. I guess he's not in position as yet. We are coming to you live from the National Assembly, and I believe Eddie is ready.
Myself, I can hardly hear you, Dario, but they're not just protesting the $1.1 billion that were cut from the 2014 national budget for the Amerindian Development Fund. They're also protesting the cuts to the transport sector budget, which will affect the development of hinterland airstrips. I have another gentleman here with me who I'll talk to a little. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. You're out here, you're protesting the cuts to the budget, the 2014 budget, especially the Amerindian Development Fund, as well as cuts to the transport sector budget, which affects the development of hinterland airstrips. What is your message to members of parliament who voted against this allocation?
My message to the member of parliament is that this is what they want to do for the people if they are the oppositions really? Is it they want to show this to the people of Guyana? I don't think we accept this. We would never accept this. Because we, the Amerindians, will be suffering across Guyana. Not even Guyana alone, but Guyana in whole. So I think we are asking for the budget to be on for our communities and the hinterlands throughout Guyana. This will help us for the development in our hinterlands and throughout Guyana.
Got a lot more time then.
And we are asking right now that not to cut the Amerindian hinterlands budget. We are asking to have it on.
You said Amerindians will suffer. The opposition has been coming to these communities. What have they been saying to you prior to the budget? What have they promised? They must say to you that they will, ensure that systems are in place for your development. What have they been saying to you? And how does this action that they took in the National Assembly contradicts those messages that they have been bringing to you?
I think the first one, what I needed to let the oppositions know that they forgot the pledge, the national pledge. And if they were pledging to the Guyanese, they are not pledging. And all the promises they were promising in the other hinterlands communities or the communities throughout, it is not true. They have been fooling our people, and we wouldn't take this no longer. And by this, I want to say that they're already losing their votes. By this, I count this. They already vote.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it, Dario. And the Amerindians out here saying that they will not let up. They will continue to to resist the opposition's decision to cut the 2014 national budget, particularly the Amerindian Development Fund, as well as the transport sector budget, which affects primarily hinterland airstrips, among others. I am seeing the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs here. I'll join her now, and I'll get a comment from her. Minister Rodriguez, you are here, we are live. You're here supporting your Amerindian brothers and sisters. What is your message to your colleagues in Parliament who, despite answers from the government in regards to their questions on the Amerindian Development Fund as well as the transport sector, what is your message to them now?
That they have just made a big mistake. that if anything, what we need in our hinterland communities, our Amerindian communities, is more money, not less money. And so this budget of 1.1 billion just for the capital program of the Amerindian Affairs Ministry, I think it was very, very important that we receive these resources so that we can continue with the development in the communities. I think that they've just played the wrong card. If you look at the items that have been cut from the budget, one would wonder what is wrong with MP Alicok, for instance, because he has cut money from the North Rupununi Development Board or the Bina Hill Institute, which is aimed at youth development. And so I think that was a very big mistake. But apart from that, all of the other things, if you look at the whole list, there was no hiding in that budget of something that we're going to do sinister. It was all about the development of the community. So it was a very, very sad day when that budget was cut. But more than that, I think it is aimed at a particular group of people, and that hurts. That hurts really bad.
The opposition leader, Mr. David Granger, said on Friday in an interview with NCN that the monies in the ADF, which is going towards the youth training, is like giving monies to Amerindians to do nothing, and it will encourage them to only depend on the government. What is your response to that?
Well, you know, unfortunately, Edward, some people, and I'm surprised at Mr. Granger that he is thinking like this. Unfortunately, anything that happens in Amerindian communities for development, there is this view that we should not have it and that it's a waste of money. And I'm really surprised that the honorable member of the opposition would also have this view, because half of his speech in the parliament, he spoke about the hinterland and Amerindian communities and that we need to do more. So while he spoke about that, and many members of his party spoke about that, what they did afterwards was actually very contradictory. They cut the budget. He asked about many, many places, what are you doing in this community? What are you doing in the Upper Mazaruni? What are you doing west of the Essequibo? Was one of the questions he asked, and in fact he said we need to do more, but yet he went and cut this budget. And the young people that you see out here, you know, in fact the Amerindian communities are the fastest growing. The Amerindian people as a group is the fastest growing population, and we need to find employment for our youths. And so this program was aimed at training them, preparing them for the world of work while giving them a small stipend. This is not a big stipend, but it's cut, and that is sad.
Minister, I want to thank you very much. Dario, there you had it, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Caroline Rodriguez-Burkett. She is an Amerindian from Region 1, and she's out here in solidarity with her Amerindian brothers and sisters. Like I said, they're protesting the $1.1 billion cut from the Amerindian Ministry's budget, which was allocated to the Amerindian Development Fund, and of course, the cut to the transport sector budget, which affects development of hinterland airstrips. Dario, back to you.
Here in the National Assembly itself, in the chamber upstairs, what is taking place is the continuation of the consideration of estimates for the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Honorable Norman Whitaker there on his feet, presenting the estimates for the various regions on the local government and regional development. In fact, they are looking to go from regions 6 through to 10 this afternoon, looking at the various estimates. And we are here live giving you excerpts of the various activities taking place in the chamber. Honorable Norman Whitaker presenting. Out on the streets, people from the hinterland, all across the hinterlands, have gathered to voice their concern that the combined opposition has in fact cut $1.1 billion of funding earmarked for hinterland development, which will be affecting all Amerindians from every region, every hinterland community, in a year when, of course, the economy is projected to expand by another 5.6%. Here it is, the actions of the opposition seeking to slow growth, seeking to slow development in every sector for fear that the country maybe is moving too fast, that, of course, people are giving too much credit to the government. A number of issues must be part of their agenda to try to reduce development, slow slow the growth of the country. The sugar industry is projected to record a 15.6% growth. The rice industry is expected to record a 1% growth. Gold is expected to record a 0.7% growth this year. The construction sector is projected to expand by 7.5%. The manufacturing sector is projected to achieve a robust growth of 7.1%. And this is very important. Guyana has been able to reduce the overall balance of payments from last year to this year, since the last budget, from $119.5 million US. The overall balance of payments have been brought down to just a mere $21.9 million US. So when there's growth in the economy, certainly we're able to take care of our debt and reduce that burden that is around the noose of every Guyanese. And certainly major developments there with the overall balance of payments coming down from $119.5 million US all the way down to $21.9 million US. All of that, while that is happening, the opposition is cutting, even while the High Court of Guyana has indicated that they should not be able to exercise such authority because such authority does not rest with them. The Speaker differs, and the Speaker believes that the standing orders of the National Assembly allows him to allow such cuts to take place, and in fact those cuts are taking place. We will have to wrap up here for you. We will join you later live as we look at budget in depth. We continue to give you analysis, interviews, and events as and when they happen here at the National Assembly.